And
so what about the dad's role? So
dads
dad's just
are
bystander in this, right?
You know, dads are really important. You know, and over the last 9 years that we've been around, we've tried to reach out to dads, and we just can't seem to grab them enough. And I think they get a little scared of this whole time and kind of run away until the kid's born. But some do, some don't. You know, but absolutely, you know, be there for your partner and support them and go to checkups and be involved. You know, watch the videos. If she says, "Oh, come over and watch the video," just do it. It'll make her happy. It'll make your life happier. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, good. But, you know, I mean, go ahead.
No, I was just moving some papers here.
Oh, but, you know, the dads can play a huge role. Like here, you know, you're preparing the nursery, the painting, dealing with the cat litter, all of that stuff. You know, be an active role in the birth and the labor. Go to the childbirth classes. You know, whether you're a male dad or even, you know, a house of two mommies, whether you're partners, it doesn't matter. The partner's role is huge because they are going to be just as much of a parent as the mom is. You know, and even if the mom is breastfeeding, you know, the partner, the dad can help with the burping, help with the diapers, help with all that, help with the sleep, you know, because mom's going to be exhausted for those first few months, you know, if not forever, because mom's work's never done. And neither is dad's for that matter. So, you know, having an active partner, having a nurturing partner, having a partner who cares is huge. And I think the biggest concern of most soon-to-be moms or even second, third-time moms is, you know, is my partner going to be there for me, you know? And we have a lot of content from both Armin Brott and Dr. Bruce Linton, as well as Dr. Rodriguez, on the importance of dad and dads in pregnancy. And I think that dads sometimes get the short shaft because everything is marketed to moms, but dads are really important too.
Yeah, and dad should know right out of the gate, do whatever you can do to support it. It makes your life easier.
Absolutely.
As I learned firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if they go, "Oh, look how cute this is," okay, honey, you know, you know, I mean, you don't have to be that shallow about it, I suppose. But it really does, you know, it makes a difference because at the end of the day, most women, especially when they're so hormonal with their pregnancies, they just want to be heard, you know. They just want to be listened to. And even if it's something that you agree to disagree on, like she really loves a certain crib, and you're like, "Wow, honey, I love it, but we can't afford it," you know, you find a compromise. You know, because a lot of the times, whether, you know, sometimes it's the woman who's dealing with finances, but there are still some men out there who deal with the family books and still have some kind of say in some financial decisions. And it's important. You know, that's part of where, you know, the dad comes in or the partner comes in terms of financials and insurance and stability and support. So,
you know, so do you have a checklist to help develop a pregnancy plan? Because you just hit on something that's really important. I mean, obviously, earlier in your pregnancy, your insurance company will know, but I mean, are there checklist items like that?
We don't have a formal checklist per se, which is a great idea. We should make one. We do have several articles that have lists in them of different things to do. So, yeah, we do. And our search is pretty decent. If you just put in the keyword searches, it should come up. So
now, as you get towards the end of the pregnancy, inevitably, the whole concept of feeding comes up. Yes. And obviously, breastfeeding is still probably the best option, but for those mothers who are working or it's not convenient or they're not interested, right, is there kind of any new research or thought towards formulas or even a mixed approach or
yeah, actually the CDC just came out. The CDC just came out with a study citing breastfeeding as the best option. While we personally don't judge any mom because, you know, breastfeeding is tough enough, we understand if someone can't absolutely do it. We still really prefer, you know, and tout that breastfeeding is best. In fact, we're still one of the few WHO-compliant websites out there. We don't actually take any formula money from any advertisers, still. But you know, it's a age-old dilemma. Most women want to try. Those who really have no interest in it, I say try it at least twice. You know, if after 2 times it really is that horrible, well, then there's other choices out there. typically speaking, I think the CDC, and I have to find the actual study that just came out like a month ago. In fact, at the big World Health organization, HUHA in New York, they actually did this as well. But it's important. What breastfeeding does is it helps build the immunities and gives babies the necessary fats and other things that they need from the mom that passes to the baby. So breastfeeding at least 6 months is recommended. Some people do it as long as 5 years, like in Sweden, which I think is probably a bit much. 2 years, 2.5 years is probably a good stop. My kid weaned himself just before 24 months. So some women do it for a long time, some just do it for a short time and then supplement. I had a horrible time pumping, honestly, so it was a good thing I was home because I just couldn't get it out. But, as soon as the kid latched on, no problem. So I think, finding a pump, which I think you guys have as well, finding a good pump, finding the good accessories for that pump help a lot. Knowing how to store your breast milk, et cetera, which we all have on site as well. We have some wonderful articles by Dr. Jack Newman as well as some others that go over all of that. It's a choice. We prefer women use their own bodies to make that choice, and if they can't, they can't. That's just the nature of human nature. Not all of us are able to breastfeed, which is a shame. But if you are, at least give it a try. And if a lot of people complain, oh, it's going to, make my whole chest sag or this, that, or the other thing. It's kind of like what goes with motherhood, There's always plastic surgery if you really get that concerned, So I guess, for that, I don't have a lot of sympathy for that excuse. I mean, this is your child. You want to do the best you can for the child because they also equate breastfeeding with less obesity and also higher IQ. So breastfeeding is important. But, also, if you're a working mom and you don't necessarily have a lot of choices, if you can pump, fantastic. If not, you do what you can. And we don't judge.
So what are your thoughts on bottles? There have been all sorts of new trends. It started years ago as glass bottles, then it went into plastic. Then there's the new fancy kind of burp-less bottles like a Dr. Brown.
Yeah, and the Advent too, I think, right?
Advent's starting to come out with some new stuff.
Yeah.
There's also been all sorts of scares about BPAs in bottles. And
right.
Do you have any content that talks about storage?
We do. We have both on content and the BPAs. We have on both. Yeah, it's important to research your bottles and to make sure that you're using something safe. I'm sure the products that you have at baby age are tested and approved just for that. So that's important.
It was actually pretty amazing when the first couple of articles came out 2 years ago on BPA-free bottles. Mm-hmm. Evenflo has been a company manufacturing bottles, and actually the Evenflo nipple, that's what the company is named after, for probably 60 or 70 years. They were one of the only manufacturers that still made glass bottles.
Okay.
And they only made it in very small runs for very specialized industrial cases. And as soon as the initial BPA articles came out, they actually had to almost quadruple their production because so many people went back to shatterproof glass bottles.
Yeah, I mean, glass is easier to clean for, probably. Less bacteria can get in. You put it in your dishwasher, put it on the sanitary, whatever, and you're good to go. So I prefer glass a lot of the times just because I try to live a more sustainable lifestyle. So I try to, use products that, I don't create too much of a footprint.